Jamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Kṛṣṇa Balaram Kṛṣṇa Balaram Kṛṣṇa Balaram Jaya Kṛṣṇa Balaram Jai Radha Shama Sundaradha Shama Sundaradhe Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad-Gita as it is ki. It's supposed to be winter. It's quite warm. I think it's my first time giving the Gita class in this room. Normally we're doing it in Balaram Hall. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading Bhagavad-Gita as it is, chapter 18. The Perfection of Renunciation, text number 33. Right? Dhṛtyā yayā dhārayate manaḥ-prāṇendriya-kriyāḥ yogenāvyabhicāriṇyā dhṛtiḥ pārtha sāttvikī dhṛtyā yayā dhṛtyāte manaḥ-prāṇendriya-kriyāḥ yogenāvyabhicāriṇyā dhṛtiḥ pārtha sāttvikī dhṛtyā yayā dhārayate manaḥ-prāṇendriya-kriyāḥ yogenāvyabhicāriṇyā dhṛtiḥ pārtha sāttvikī
yayā dhārayate manaḥ-prāṇendriya-kriyāḥ yogenāvyabhicāriṇyā dhṛtiḥ pārtha sāttvikī
yayā dhārayate manaḥ-prāṇendriya-kriyāḥ yogenāvyabhicāriṇyā dhṛtiḥ pārtha sāttvikī
dhṛtyā dhārayate manaḥ-prāṇendriya-kriyāḥ yogenāvyabhicāriṇyā dhṛtiḥ pārtha sāttvikī
dhṛtyā yayā dhārayate manaḥ-prāṇendriya-kriyāḥ yogenāvyabhicāriṇyā dhṛtiḥ pārtha sāttvikī
dhṛtyā, determination. Yayā, by which. Dhārayate, one sustains. Manaḥ, of the mind. Prāṇa, life. Indriya, and senses. Kriyāḥ, the activities. Yogena, by yoga practice. Avyabhicāriṇyā, without any break. Dhṛtiḥ, determination. That. Pārtha, O son of Pṛthā. Sāttvikī, in the mode of goodness. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. O son of Pṛthā, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. Responsively. O son of Pṛthā, that determination, which is unbreakable, which is sustained by steadfastness, with steadfastness, by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. Prabhupada's purport. Yoga is a means to understand the Supreme Soul. One who is steadily fixed in the Supreme Soul with determination, concentrating one's mind, life, and sensory activities on the Supreme, engages in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. That sort of determination is in the mode of goodness. The word avyabhicāriṇyā is very significant, for it indicates that persons who are engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness are never deviated by any other activity. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatati Svapadantikam. Srila Prabhupada ki. Funny, it says this avyabhicāriṇyā, without any break. In the West, when a person is frustrated, he says, give me a break. But it says here, without any break. So it's amazing how, Kṛṣṇa arranged, although it's very rare that one can take up devotional service, bahunang jamanamante gyanavan mang prapadate. So many people in this material world, and everyone in this world is totally covered by the mind and senses. As we heard this morning's class, the sunshine is bright, but the shadow is darkness. So Kṛṣṇa, the teachings of Bhagavatam, teachings of Bhagavad-Gita, and also the process of devotional service is all in the light. It's all actually meant to help clean the heart, cheto darpana marjanam, and regulate the mind and senses. But the darkness of the material world has us all bewildered on the bodily platform. It's very difficult to get free from the bodily platform. If you see, sometimes people say, well, Swamiji, how many people you have in your society? Oh, we have some, temples, and we have a few hundred here, this many that. But most of the time, persons who are interviewing and or interested in numbers of different religions and different followings, Prabhupada said, if you're giving diamonds, something which is very rare and very pure, you don't have so many customers, because in the material world, everyone is a prisoner. Everyone is captured, and everyone is looking out for number one, for themselves. And unfortunately, no one is achieving that happiness, whether they're performing, hatha yoga, or mental speculation, reading books of philosophy. When you're young and curious, you want to know, there's something more. There must be something more to life. But this daivihesha gunamayi mama maya dhṛtyā mamivaye prapajante mayame tang tarantite. The divine energy of Kṛṣṇa is difficult to overcome. But one who surrenders to Kṛṣṇa can easily overcome this maya. So we're being given a very secret formula, this Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam. It's the topmost philosophy, the topmost religion, but it's very confidential because people don't want to know. They're looking for happiness in the material world. I sometimes think, Kṛṣṇa is expanding himself as Balaram, Srimati Radharani, unlimited Vishnu forms. He has unlimited pastimes in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, what to speak of the Vaikuntha Lokas, and each Loka has a different predominating deity, and all the servants are serving according to their desire to please the Lord. So because Kṛṣṇa is unlimited, there's unlimited living entities and unlimited desires. And here we are on planet Earth. I saw one very special camera that NASA or the Space Center people have, and they showed a very close picture of the universe and the stars. You could see there's hundreds, thousands, millions of stars and luminaries in our little universe. And unfortunately, the scientists and the leaders, especially the astronauts and all them who are trying to go to the moon and make stations on Mars, and they think because identifying with the body, oh, the atmosphere and other places besides this tiny little Earth planet is unsuitable for life. And this is why Kṛṣṇa, from the very beginning, is explaining that the eternal soul is immutable, indestructible, can't be burnt by fire, can't be weathered by the wind, or cut by any kind of material. And this consciousness is bright light. Just imagine that 1/10,000, the tip of a hair, just to give us an idea of measurement. The spirit soul is very, very tiny, just like the sun is big, but it's illuminating the entire universe. The sun is producing light which is traversing throughout the whole universe and sustaining the universe. All the planets are rotating and everything seems to harmoniously be functioning, and the sunshine has unlimited heat and light and energy. And there's so much mystery behind the complexities of this human body in particular. If you think about, what have scientists been, with all their brain power, been able to make? Some robots, little robots that, or something that looks somewhat real, but to be able to make the human, to see and smell and taste and feelings and consciousness and independence. So actually Bhagavad-Gita, with the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is beautifully explained, because Kṛṣṇa personally is explaining to Arjuna, because you're not envious of me, because you're my devotee, you can understand the science of Bhagavad-Gita. So right there we're setting up the boundaries that people in this material world are envious of others, jealousy, envy, and we want to dismiss the idea of God or a supreme being who's as Paramatma, seeing everything and controlling the universe and also giving us this material body. We may think, oh no, my mother and father, they gave me this body. But that spirit soul, whether it comes down to form of rain and producing grains and then is being absorbed somehow or other into the human form and then transmitted, and we're thinking this is all nature, it's just happening automatically. Mother Nature is producing all the varieties of fruits and flowers and vegetative growth and the seas and the fishes and the varieties of human life. When you see that one picture, I believe Jadharani painted it, it shows all the various species of life going through a transformation, human life, and then birth and death, the cycle of birth and death. So it's not basically that we're just speculating or blindly following some man, but actually the pure devotee is one who's representing Kṛṣṇa. And Kṛṣṇa, he's giving this knowledge. He's giving the knowledge of the self, giving knowledge of how to get free from this repetition of birth and death. This is the problem. The problem is imperceptibly we're all getting older at every moment. Isn't it? How old are you now, Narendra? 81? 82? How old are you? 82, yeah. And you see, just from, as a child, you're able to play and move, and you remember, next thing you know, you're a young man, and then and time is going by. This time imperceptibly is taking the life of all living entities. So here, in this particular verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna that determination which is unbreakable, vyavasayatmika buddhi rekeha kuru nandana, bahushaka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. See, Ekeha kurunandana, that means the devotees, we're fixed in our determination that I want to serve Kṛṣṇa. I want to hear about Kṛṣṇa. I want to dedicate my mind, my life to Kṛṣṇa, because this is the only solution for happiness in eternal existence. Give up this artificial transmigration of repeated birth and death, this samsara, this cycle of birth and death, whether one is a king, an emperor, a great ruler, thinking oneself to be very, very happy. We see so many stories of great empires with unlimited wealth, unlimited opportunity for sense enjoyment. Not only here, you can go to the heavens, where the duration of life is very, very long. But even Brahma and all the different great demigods, it's a temporary manifestation. Everything is like an illusion. And this unbreakable determination is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice. So there are jnana yoga. We can try to become bookworms and speculate. I think Dharmatma read the other day that better to be a bookworm than a worm in stool, because material life means that you're going to go up and down, and there's a lot of suffering for sinful activities. As we're breathing, we're killing so many living beings. I thought I had something in my glass. I wiped it, and I think it might have been a little tiny. And you see little creatures crawling here and there. When you're walking on the street, you're stepping on so many ants. I think the Jain, they have the permanent mask on so that they can avoid killing the bugs. But one cannot be free from sinful reactions. That it just while living in this material world, we're committing so many. That's why there are so many ceremonies recommended and sacrifices and yagyas and responsibilities. As a human being, he starts questioning, okay, my existence, we have to follow, as a human being, we have to follow some religious process. We need the garbhodhan sanskara before the baby is born. There's a ceremony for marriage, a ceremony for a child, and then so many other ceremonies. There's a ceremony for death, for the forefathers. But all these, whether it's jnana yoga or karma yoga, thinking that, well, I will work, I'll be a good person, and God will naturally reciprocate because I'm doing what I think is good. But all these karma yoga, jnana yoga, they're all brought together in bhakti yoga. And this practice of yoga controls the mind and senses automatically, meaning that although we're conditioned, we're struggling in this world to try to be happy, there's no happiness, there's no other solution than taking shelter of Kṛṣṇa and Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And Kṛṣṇa is so kind that although there are varieties of persons and there are varieties of processes so that people can achieve what they feel is what they want. I want wealth, you worship this way. I want beautiful wife, you worship this way. I want to control the universe. Even Dhruva Maharaj, he had many, many desires. There are kings and presidents and ministers and persons who are thinking that the more honor, the more wealth, the more reputation I have, I'll become happy. But the happiness is very fleeting. There's no happiness in this material world. It's a place of dukkhalayam shashvatam, temporary and miserable place. People think, well, don't be so pessimistic. Why not be optimistic, Yes, there's a reflection from the spiritual world when you see the beautiful sunshine and the birds are chirping and the flowers and so many varieties of fruits and vegetables and whatnot, and you see your family members and, oh, it's such a happy life. But everything ultimately deteriorates, gets old, diseased, and dies. Isn't it? You take the fruit, leave it on your counter. If you don't eat it, it just becomes mush, useless. So we have some life, some energy, and Prabhupada was not the kind of teacher who said, okay, here, just read the book. He showed us A, B, C. Not that Prabhupada is learning the ABCs. When I go to the youth program, Sureshwar Prabhu, and he's instructing all the youth in these mantras of Bhagavad-Gita, and you can hear the enthusiasm in the voices of the young participants. And this is actually how it's meant to be. We're meant to be excited about being part of Krishna consciousness, that everything can be accomplished by chanting Krishna's holy names. It's become like that the reading that we're doing of Bhagavad-Gita, we're sitting and listening and glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna's ultimately saying, Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mami vasasi satyate pratijani priyosame. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your prayers unto me. Thus you'll come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. Krishna is a friend of everyone, and he's giving us a formula that by surrendering to the spiritual master, the pure devotee, and by rendering service, Krishna will reveal in our heart and also through the message of the spiritual master. And the spiritual master is essential because we've learned a lot of bad habits in this material world. So when Krishna says, Trinadapi sunichena tarodapi sahishnana amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari, that if one is humbler than the blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, because we have so many high evaluations of ourselves that, I'm pretty good at this, I'm pretty good at that, and look at how people are inspired by what I do and what I say. But Lord Chaitanya, with his teachings to Prakashananda Saraswati, the great learned Vedantist, and all his followers, they were questioning why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not studying Vedanta. He is simply a sentimentalist, chanting and dancing and performing these bhakti activities which they considered to be more simple or not so elevated. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed that in Kali Yuga in particular, there's no qualified yagya brahmanas to perform the sacrifices. And the mantras, they have to be very carefully. When Yudhishthira Maharaj was going to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, there was a question about Jarasandha, that all the Vrishnis wanted to have Jarasandha killed. But at the same time, the message came from all these 20,000 kings who were imprisoned and princes by Jarasandha, because he was intending to do some big sacrifice of, I think, 100,000 kings for some kind of sacrifice. So Jarasandha was gathering all the kings who he defeated, who would not submit to him. But then when the Rajasuya sacrifice was going to take place, Kṛṣṇa asked, was it Uddhava, to come up with what is the best solution, although Kṛṣṇa knows everything. And Uddhava came up with a plan that, yes, you can do the Rajasuya sacrifice, and simultaneously you can also dress up as brahmanas, you, Bhima, and Arjuna. He gave the hint how to defeat Jarasandha. Anyway, it's a whole story, but the Rajasuya sacrifice, before that performance took place, Yudhishthira Maharaj sent Arjuna, Bhima, Sahadev, and Nakula. They all had armies, different armies, and all the kings would submit to the emperor, Yudhishthira Maharaj. And then in order to perform the sacrifice, he appointed all the great brahmanas with mantras, and there were like referees or assistant persons to make sure that everything was chanted properly and correctly pronunciated, and the whole sacrifice becomes successful if properly executed. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka says, Nam Namakari Bahudani Jasarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivam Idrisha Mahajani Nanuraga. You have so many names, there's no hard and fast rules for chanting these holy names. But he's saying that if one is thinking about how to become humble, how to become a servant of the devotees, and there are many places when Krishna says one who is not affected by dualities of liking and hating, heat and cold, and being kind to all living beings, and so many Brahminical qualities are shown there. He goes, he's very, very dear to me. So this yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana savar gunais tatra samasate sura. The good qualities of the demigods, all these godly qualities are inherently existing with us. This nitya siddha Krishna prem sajikabanoi. We have this love for Krishna. We have an intimate relationship with Krishna. But now we have the glove of the material body and senses covering our true identity. And Krishna is trying to attract us. Why did Krishna appear 5,000 years ago? To perform the wonderful activities of engaging with the cowherd boys, Mother Yashodananda Maharaj, what to speak of the gopis' love. And throughout the 10th canto, which we're fortunately reading now, we're seeing the intensity of love and emotion and the playfulness of Krishna and his happiness to when he sees or engages in loving affairs with devotees on different levels. We all have a different relationship with Krishna. We're all satisfied. But how to uncover that Krishna consciousness which is lying dormant? And that's the yoga practice. Yoga practice means some discipline. So when one is performing austerities, what is austerity? You may not want to get up at 3 a.m, but that's an austerity. That means I got to take rest a little bit early the night before, and that's an austerity because, so many things are going on. You want to continue on doing this and that, and following rules and regulations, which we may not be accustomed to. Fasting for Ekadasi or the special appearance days, or living in the temple with people that maybe we don't necessarily have much in common with. Isn't it Prabhupada made a home where the whole world can live in, and we all come from different backgrounds and different aspirations and desires, but somehow, by the grace of Guru and Krishna, that bhakti lata bij, although it's already there, that somehow that little bit of water, this agyata sukriti, this good fortune was given to us by Prabhupada. And because of having a little bit of reception or attraction to the message of Godhead, once we start reading Bhagavad-Gita and hearing the philosophy and understanding that this process of Krishna consciousness is the, I say, all-encompassing best way to go back home, back to Godhead in a very expedient way. We were in 1976, the memory I have, Prabhupada giving class in Washington, D.C. My friends and I were practicing TM, Transcendental Meditation. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was popular back then in the 70s. And my friend Mark, he asked Prabhupada, he said, well, this process of cosmic consciousness, this TM, Transcendental Meditation, is a new accelerated system of because you meditate on one mantra that's given to you 2 or 3 times a day, but there was no following rules and regulations or any real deep philosophy. There were 6 chapters of Bhagavad-Gita for the Maharishis, and it was all based on impersonal cosmic consciousness, how the bubble and the busts and becomes one with the whole all consciousness. So the basic Shankara philosophy, I shouldn't say basic, I'm sure it's very intricate and detailed, but this teaching of Bhagavad-Gita, Prabhupada explained that Krishna consciousness is like you go in the elevator and go to the top floor immediately, whereas through other processes you're going through the staircase. You may start in the morning, by the time you get to the top, the business is already closed. You wasted all your time. So other processes of self-realization, so-called meditation, or following some charismatic person that, oh, this person's God and that person's God is very popular, especially in India. There's a Jagat Guru who never left his village, doesn't even know what's beyond the village. So, and Prabhupada was never proud that, oh, I'm going to come and save the world. But he was thinking with determination that I have this order of my spiritual master. We heard this morning how in 1922, when Prabhupada came before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and he was ordered that, oh, you're an intelligent young man, you should spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to English-speaking world, throughout the world. And Prabhupada often meditated on that. And I can see, just as finishing the translation work of Bhagavatam, not finished, but the first 3 volumes of the first canto, he felt, I have books, and somehow Krishna's making the arrangements through a stranger he met in Mathura that would be sponsored in America. And despite so many hurdles and stumbling blocks and difficulties, we heard how many years of struggle, Prabhupada came to America, and you think, okay, finally. But then again, another struggle, what to speak of being homeless, practically speaking, no money, living with the bums on Bowery. I lived in the Lower East Side as well. The Bhakti Center is there, and also we had a yoga studio there. And the Lower East Side, especially in the 60s and 70s, was a very dangerous place and full of drunkards and persons who were just completely lost as to the purpose and goal of life. But Prabhupada underwent all kinds of austerities and struggle, but he was fixed on Krishna. He was fixed on spreading this message of Godhead, because out of compassion and love, why would Prabhupada want to be sitting in some little dingy, dark room talking about Krishna and how to become free from the sufferings of material life? He was perfectly happy in Vrindavan, sitting next to Rupa Goswami's samadhi, and just relishing the chanting of the Lord's holy name, and like many people feel that one should never leave Vrindavan, not even going to here or there. What to speak of crossing the ocean to a foreign land where people, and even when Prabhupada came back and was inaugurating in Mayapur to put an Ananta Shesh, they dug a hole, and he had many of his godbrothers sannyasis there as well. And Prabhupada also initiated one Westerner in sannyas. And Achyutananda, although American, he was preaching in Bengali. He learned Bengali, and he was doing preaching. There was thousands of people coming and going. This is in Mayapur for Gaur Purnima time. They're going to have a special celebration. And Prabhupada went down into the pit, and he installed the Ananta Shesha, and all the godbrothers were praising and glorifying Prabhupada for that. But then the next day, they came back to see Prabhupada with a complaint, and so Prabhupada put all the disciples out with, and they said, why are you using the name Prabhupada? And Prabhupada said, no, my disciples are calling like that. He said, Brahmananda, bring me my letterhead. And it said, Tri Dandi A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. He said, I'm not using Prabhupada. They were satisfied with that. But somehow or other, despite Prabhupada numerous attempts to involve the various God brothers in helping spread the mission of Krishna consciousness, everyone had their own ideas. So I can see that Prabhupada was not at all looking for any kind of glory. It wasn't about him, about Krishna consciousness. How one can go back home to Krishna. And Prabhupada set the example of determination, dedication to Guru, despite so many challenges and tribulations from God brothers, from Mother Nature, from heart attacks, from government difficulties, so much of a challenge. It's almost like unbelievably, Prabhupada said, I don't know why you brought me to this place. You know, it's, how will they accept the principles of devotional Vaishnava life? It's not possible, these people. Isn't it the one Lord? He said, can you make me a Brahmin? Yes, no intoxication, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling. He said, impossible. Impossible. This is our life. Everyone lives for these things. But Prabhupada's teaching us param drishtva nivartate, how to have a higher taste. How one can, from the early morning, engage his eyes in seeing the beautiful deities, and ears in hearing the holy name and the beautiful songs glorifying Krishna's activities and pastimes. And what to speak of the celebration of singing and dancing. People, this is their happiness. After working, they want to go out and sing and dance and have fun with friends. So we all come together, we're singing, we're dancing, a little philosophy, and then prasad. We're going to get some prasad. So we take on this austerity just like a child who has to go to school, or someone who wants to be a doctor. He has to go so many years of university study. Want to be a professor, a PhD, you have to study. You have to sacrifice your sleep. You have to sacrifice your time of going out with the boys or girls and having a good time. And by that austerity, you achieve some doctorate, some title, in a facility to bring more money that you think I can have a nice home, a nice car, a nice family, and I'll be happy. But it's all taken away. The father and mother is taken away. Your new Mercedes-Benz is taken away. Your life is taken away. Everything is gone. So people are striving and working to make big buildings, empires, great wealth, that famous. There's Napoleons, Hitlers, and Mussolinis, and so many Jarasandas and Kangsas and Hiranyakashipus. But everything in this world is temporary. Krishna manifests, puts all the living entities, activates everything, higher, lower planets, various species of life. Human life is rare, special. And if we can inquire about, who am I? Why am I forced to suffer? Why am I forced to grow old? Can't even hardly make it up the stairs without holding onto the railing, right? And this is everybody's unfortunate situation, to be in darkness and blindness. And if you have a blind leader, everyone's going to go into that ditch. You need someone who has eyes to see. So Prabhupada is that pure devotee. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada. Of course, many great acharyas. I'm sure there's wonderful devotees everywhere. But somehow or other, we're fortunate to be under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And we have an opportunity to live together and to hear and read the beautiful pastimes of Kṛṣṇa, and to try to enlighten others, to help others. This is real humanitarian work. Right now, people are killing one another left and right over bodily misidentification, cultural misidentification, so-called religious fanaticism. I mean, people may think the same about the Kṛṣṇa consciousness, that, oh, you're escaping society, what good are you doing? Sometimes they criticize we don't do enough humanitarian work. Prabhupada saw the prasad distribution, so many people said this should continue on. So book distribution, glorification of Kṛṣṇa, knowledge of Kṛṣṇa keeps us busy and keeps us focused that I have to go out every day and do my duty, whether it's cooking, dressing, book distribution, studying, preparing, so that I can also become more instrumental for my Guru Maharaj to help spread this mission of Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Prabhupada would often say, my Guru Maharaj has sent all of you to assist. So he's actually considering that these are all my gurus, that all these persons, although unqualified, Kṛṣṇa sent you, my Guru Maharaj sent all of you to help assist in this spreading of the Kṛṣṇa consciousness. What benefit did Prabhupada have? Prabhupada, where do you live? I have houses all over the world, but I cannot stay in any of them. I'm always moving and preaching, just like Narada Muni was cursed, cannot stay still. But we have a beautiful home and a wonderful opportunity, but we have to get regulated. And that regulation will give us the momentum to control the mind and senses. Because, whether it's out of duty or feeling that what will people say if I'm not there in the morning program, or if I don't show up and do my duties nicely, or if I'm not in the proper frame of mind. The Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Prahlad Maharaj, he pointed out the hearing, chanting, remembering, glorifying the Lord, serving the lotus feet, fully surrendering to the Lord, offering prayers. All these we've been given by Srila Prabhupada. And all we have to do is stay on the boat. Do as everybody else is doing. Try to encourage one another. And obviously, when there are more finite rules, that those who are advanced Mahabhagavat seek their association, serve them. Those who are equal or have that, then befriend, and those who are lesser, those who are neophytes or lost in the material world, try to help them by giving them Kṛṣṇa consciousness, awakening them to the importance of not wasting the human form of life. Because it's a rare gift. Human life is a rare gift. Because we're given a special ability and intelligence. And Kṛṣṇa, as a super soul, he's witnessing everything. And although there may be so many living entities who may not take up Kṛṣṇa consciousness, like in the prison house, we think, oh, we hear there's a lot of free people, like we're thinking in the spiritual world, Vaikuntha Lokas, and there's many people in the heavenly planets, also many people in the hellish planets. Like in a prison, there's some people in solitary confinement, and some have more liberties and freedoms. They can go maybe bring library books, or could go out to the garden and have a little bit of fresh air, whereas others may be in a third-class prison. Oh, I'm in a first-class prison apartment, I'm feeling happy. So we might have some, due to our past karma and the blessings of the Lord, some good health, but who has good health? It's a matter of 10, 20 years, it's all going to deteriorate. How far can you go? 90, 100 years? Okay, maybe become a great yogi, live for hundreds of years and have stretchy skin, but there's no eternal existence. We're eternal. Nahanyate hanyamane sharire. Najayate mriyate vakadachin nayang bhutva bhavata vanabuya ajonitya shashvato yang prano nahanyate hanyamani sharire. We're eternal, ever-existing, undying, primeval. We're not slain when the body is slain. So we want to come to that point to awaken our eternal life. We want to come to the point where we can actually see Kṛṣṇa, speak with Kṛṣṇa. And Krishna's he's manifesting himself, and he's exchanging loving exchanges with his devotees. So it's not easy, but also even we might have some shortcomings, have a lot of shortcomings, and are struggling. But Krishna says, because you're properly situated, you're very quickly going to advance in your spiritual life. So stay with the devotees, keep hearing and chanting, try your best to serve with, purely without any envy and jealousy or whatever it might be. The challenges will always come. And pray that Prabhupada can give us that same resolute determination that he has to serve his spiritual master, and the compassion that he feels for the suffering conditioned souls, that I'm one of the suffering conditioned souls, but if I can be instrumental, just like the monkeys and the Hanuman and all the different gorillas and the different living entities there, I wanted to assist Lord Ramachandra in his mission. So we might come from the uncivilized, not so cultured Brahminical families, the Malechas and Yavanas and Rakshasa families. We come from demon families. Prahlad Maharaj also came from a demon family. But doesn't mean that everyone is a demon in this material world unless you turn towards God consciousness. And the only remedy for this Kali Yuga is Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Kevalam, Kalu Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. That by praying to the holy name that, my Lord, somehow I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death, please pick me up from this ocean of suffering. Krishna says, I'm the swift deliverer from this ocean of birth and death. Imagine you might be a great swimmer, but there you are in the middle of the ocean. What hope? There's no hope. But if someone takes you and pulls you out of the ocean, you feel, oh, it's my savior. So Prabhupada's pulling us all out of this ocean of suffering. And Krishna personally will bring you back home, back to the spiritual world. We shouldn't think that, oh, it's not attainable due to my degree of contamination. Yes, contamination is deep. We're conditioned and we don't have any good qualities. But somehow or other, by trying to serve Prabhupada's devotees, hearing about Kṛṣṇa daily, you made a sacrifice coming to even the Bhagavad-Gita class, to hear Bhagavad-Gita class. Maybe something can inspire me to also be fixed in my devotional service, determined, and very rigidly, like the Goswamis, they had a certain number of rounds and certain amount of obeisances, and they had a very strict regulation. So one lifetime we dedicate to a strict regulation, but as we become more and more attracted and spontaneously to hear about Kṛṣṇa, we take pleasure in hearing of Kṛṣṇa. We take pleasure in taking prasad with the devotees and seeing the beautiful deities, and also doing something of value that will assist in Lord Chaitanya's order to spread Jare Dakotare Kaho Krishna Upadesh Amara Gai Guru Hoy Tare Desh. That we spread this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, not by our great preaching, but by giving the books. And Krishna, of course, we say something to inspire people to take the books, but we know that the real potency is in Krishna's words, in the pure devotee's words. But because we're connected, just like when you plug into that outlet there, there's juice there, because it's connected to the powerhouse. So we're connected to Prabhupada and Prabhupada's movement, and then people, they also experience some happiness by seeing our endeavor and our enthusiasm, because we're all working on ourselves. We have to continue working on ourselves to become more Krishna conscious. We have a few minutes. Srila Prabhupada ki. Any questions, comments, complaints?
We learn from your lecture, Prabhu.
Huh?
We learn from your lecture how Prabhupada tolerated and bring that all invested people in bhakti. Although he speaks truth, but many people did not accept the truth. This is the problem, this matter.
That's true. That's true that people don't accept the truth. Like I said, people don't want to hear about God, and everyone has a natural doubt because it's the cheaters and cheated, and everyone's looking out how they can become happy. The selfishness is very prevalent. And if one has to surrender, it's not an easy affair, because everyone thinks that, okay, let's go to the temple, okay, the devotees are chanting, we'll see everything, okay, let's go now, let's go, we got to go. So it's very rare that one will very seriously recognize that, oh, I found the best jewel, this is the real. And many people may say like that, but we have the authentic books. We have a process which we see works, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So although we may be giving everyone an opportunity, unless they're fortunate, they may not, they may take or not take. But our duty is to try to give Kṛṣṇa to the best of our ability. Yes, you're asking something, little girl? You had your hand up, or are you just stretching your fingers? Everyone likes the conference hall, it's good. It's quieter in here anyway. Everyone's so quiet. It's like, in India you don't see that too often. Generally someone's got to be talking or something's got to be going on. But even when Prabhupada's lecturing, sometimes you hear things in the background. If it gets too much, Prabhupada will say something, but Prabhupada is expert at not controlling, but captivating people's attention, the urgency of taking up Krishna consciousness. It's very important, And we think, oh, I took it up too late, or no, never too late. Always. To surrender is always a grand opportunity. So now the time is finished. We can all carry on doing whatever services we have to continue. Take rest early so you can get up early, come and see the deities, and another day of glorious service, right? That's all we can do. Be thankful to Prabhupada and thankful that we have something that's real, the real future, not just this bodily future, but our eternal existence is awaken that love for Kṛṣṇa. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki. Made it through. I made it through the class.